Hey everyone, thanks for taking the time to listen to my story. The name I was given is Dakota Orlias, and throughout my life I've been mistaken for my nationality, but I'm proud to be Dene. I come from a small isolated community called Cove Lake, and it's located just within the Arctic Circle. Most people would refer it to as a village, however I strongly believe we're more than that, and consider it more as my family, and I couldn't be more grateful for where I come from. During the early ages of my childhood, what I remember most was being on the land with my relatives, such as my aunts, my parents, my uncles, and my grandparents. Every season we'd head out to various campsites, depending on the season. For example, during the springtime we'd hunt swans and geese, and when summer comes along we'd most likely hunt smaller game, such as ducks, chickens, and rabbits. We live around a lake, so everyone would have their nets out, either in a bay or across the lake if you want a much larger fish. When the daylight gets shorter, you know autumn is creeping in. I'd say it's my favorite time of the year because Cove Lake would have their annual community hunt, and everyone would participate. The time we'd spend out there, the youth would be taught their roles depending on their responsibilities that had to be done in the daily bush life. The time we'd spend out in Horton Lake would vary from 8 to 14 days. Soon after the hunt, families that would go out for the trapping season would gather their supplies and prepare for the time they'd spend out on the land. The season would start from end of September through to December, just before Christmas. While in the bush, we'd get taught a lot on how to survive on the land, and I'm eternally grateful for the lessons I've learned. My late uncle had such an influence on me. He took me out every chance he got. Taught me mostly everything I know today, from hunting and trapping and where are all the fish lakes and how to track caribou or moose, how to navigate the land we use so much. My uncle was one of the most skilled in his class. Earlier, when I mentioned every chance he got to take me out, my parents sometimes would not approve because they also wanted me to get my education. My parents always wanted the best for me, wanted me to succeed in the world of the white man. I suppose they knew down the road it'll be crucial to have your diploma or some sort of certification to be even considered civilized in this colonized country. So I'm proud that I can live in both worlds, the white man's way and the way our ancestors have lived for millennia. Where am I going? Well, when we all started school in kindergarten, teachers and educators would ask us what we wanted to be when we grew up. They'd ask the class, and most of us would say things like police officer or a doctor, lawyer, pilot, astronaut, maybe even the president. As I was growing up, I started giving more thought. I started getting ambitious and curious about this big world we live in. It started when I got a little taste of the southern life in Canada. Afterwards, I was hooked. I wanted to travel the world. I started researching online for opportunities that I can apply for, and turned out that there were many. My first experience was a volunteer program which would have me spend a whole summer on the East Coast, known as Nova Scotia, where I spent my summer helping people and volunteering my time, and after completion I was full of adventure. I wanted more, and so that's what I did. Traveled all across Canada for many reasons. I learned so much, been taught a whole lot about all the different cultures and its people that we have in Canada. Throughout the process, I've also learned how Canada was established and how they proceeded with this endeavor. Canada has a dark history which very few Canadians know of, and what has happened to our nation saddens me, and I was in disbelief of how can people be so cruel, especially to inhabitants that were here before the settlers arrived. I'm not angry or seek revenge, only want to educate Canadians on what has happened to our people and acknowledge what has happened so that we may reconcile with our non-Indigenous so we can grow together as a country. My goal now is to become a good leader for my people so that I can do everything within my power to help change and shape Canada into the best country, since the global citizens and most Canadians believe it is. Not too much, I'd say. Once you think about it, no different than the US, in fact. Since then, I've been an activist for young Indigenous people, and especially for our environment, for its wildlife that gives us strength. There's so much I want to say, time is irrelevant, but from now on I'll strive to educate myself in both worlds, my traditional ways and the so-called white man world that we live in. I also plan on to pursue on furthering my education in politics, governance, and most of all, Indigenous studies. There's no doubt in my mind that there will be barriers and challenges that I may face, but I can say with confidence that I'll overcome anything that'll come my way. I just want to finish off with a quote. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.